Welcome to Natural Born Talents. Today's subject is the soldier, sailor, worker, tailor aura. The aura is actually red. This is actually a very physical aura. It's one of the strong, full of life aura of the five physical auras. I generally categorize this aura into three groups, depending upon the kind of lifestyle that they have. Their basic personality is the same. They love being in the physical world. But there are some small nuances in their psyche that's a little bit different from the three types I'll describe as we go along. Well, first of all three of them are very gung-ho about life. They're very expectant on everything to go well for them if they put enough effort into the physical world. Even when things don't go well, they make a quick comeback and wrestle themselves from complete defeat and turn around the situation into something that is at least acceptable as often as possible. They are very straightforward people. They're very frank. Some people would say simple, in the sense that they don't seem to appear to have very, very deep personalities. But that really depends upon the individual. They fit very well with the environment of nature. Far better than they do with the world of technology. Overly complicated things do not sit well with this aura. All three of this personality type love to help other people, so they're always moving things for others, helping out with people in crisis, always will be willing to help someone who has a hard luck story, most likely because they themselves have been there. And their straightforwardness is basically if they can see, smell, touch, feel, it's real for them. In the abstract world where things get kind of, you have to think or be imaginative, they have a tendency to hold in disbelief. As for them, they much prefer to tackle the physical reality of our world. This is why they often gravitate towards things where they can use their physical abilities to achieve goals. When they achieve something this way, that gives them a great sense of confidence, which they naturally have to begin with, but is heightened by success. With our modern society increasingly becoming robotic or using machines for tasks that used to be done by this particular personality type, they're beginning to feel like their purpose in this world is becoming less important. But still, they will very eagerly help out with anybody if they need something to be moved, something to be carried or transported. Humdrum physical work doesn't bother this particular personality type at all. Because they are such physical people, they often like to show off their physical prowess or physical physique. Of all the auras, this one particularly suits well to be a model for artists at times, or a stunt man or woman. Some enjoy combative scenarios, so will absolutely love joining the military forces, which I'll describe one of the three personality types within this aura a little bit later. They have a natural instinct towards the environment, so if the weather's going to change or they're in danger from weather or something, they will instinctually know it and do everything to get themselves and the people around them out of danger. They have very good survival instincts. However, their study habits are, because they are such physical beings, are not up to par with the rest of the auras. Again, for them to understand something, they have to have it in the physical reality. In other words, to physically touch, see, smell, or whatever. If it's outside of that, it takes them time to process information through their physical psyche in order to come to something they can understand. However, if they learn through doing things, they can learn much quicker than sitting, say, at a desk trying to contemplate ideas Therefore, they often do well in sports, gym class, and stuff like this, but not so well in abstract theory or complicated math or anything like that. And sometimes they can feel inadequate at school and sometimes become the bully for those who can handle those kinds of things. And again, it's just because of their frustration that they can't achieve what others can do. However, they are very curious people and they like to know how things work. And so that being the case, things like metal shop or woodworking or fixing a car or some of these other physical activities do well for them. This makes others feel that they are short-tempered. They can be lacking in patience with learning new things or complicated things. Teachers and parents alike need to understand that this particular aura needs to be shown physically in order to understand something. Then the rest will catch up later. It's not that they're stupid, because actually they're very bright, very practical in the way they do things. But processing large amounts of information takes time with them without something they can compare it to or connect it to in the physical world. And if they feel that it doesn't have any purpose for them in the immediate future, they hold little interest in it. So their level of patience immediately drops to a low when anything being explained to them doesn't connect them to the physical reality. When in class, for example, if they're sitting around trying to absorb information, they of course would much rather be doing something. So if a teacher can get them to perform something in an active way in order to learn something, this is where they will excel. For example, given several choices of a particular problem, they can think it through while taking which action will complete that problem the fastest, the quickest, or the most simplest. This kind of solving tasks works very well for this particular personality. This particular aura tends to be very straightforward, honest, open, frank. They tend to say things as it is without being manipulative. And because they're physically strong, they have the ability to take a lot of emotional punishment as well. When faced with a scenario that has no concrete outcome, they can get frustrated and agitated with their lack of insight or abilities to solve them, to please themselves and others. But they never give up. They fight it out to the end. Even sometimes when it's a lost cause. They have a difficult time seeing the difference between a lost cause sometimes and one that just needs a little bit more effort and understanding and a little bit more of a push. On the other hand, this allows them to create enormous amount of courage in others and never to give up the fight to the end. Even though if we may lose, at least get 1 or 2 points in or something like this. However, when they do get overloaded by emotional feelings or a sense of loss or some of these other problems that arise in life, they have one very powerful weak point. That is their rage that they hold. This aura has quite a strong sense of passionate feelings bottled up inside. And sometimes they come out as anger, not in the sense to destroy, but to release the pent-up energy. If they don't find healthy ways to release it, say through physical therapy like martial arts, for example, or weightlifting, or a strenuous physical exercise, they can become abusive, and they need to be careful of this. So when they get overloaded, for example, they may break something, slam a door, kick a hole in the wall, or even punch a loved one or something like that. This particular aura loves to socialize, but they are not always open for deep conversation about themselves and others. They can come to a party and enjoy the rowdiness of a party, but they often come in first being kind of wary and looking around them, not quite joining fully. until they feel it's safe enough to do so. One of the other things this particular aura loves is sexual activity. This particular aura does not hold the same morals as some of the other personality types, in the sense that you must love someone in order to make love with someone. To them, lovemaking is just an expression of nature sometimes, a very earthy, a very raw, passionate feeling. Again, when this is nurtured properly and they can release this expression well with the individuals that they have in their lives, everybody can enjoy this very, very much, because sex for this individual is a very, very pleasurable thing. It's not about commitment or anything else. It's about play. It's about experiencing another individual. It's about the joy of the natural flow of the human body. It's often a spiritual experience for this personality type. So I'll explain the 3 different personality types within this one particular aura. The first one is the one that loves to fix things, the worker, the laborer. This particular one loves to have its own shop. Could be anything from fixing bicycles all the way up to big machinery and things like this. The problem is that if they're running their own business, they're going to need somebody to do the paperwork, because they're going to be so into doing the physical labor of their work. They don't want to sit down and have to go through all of the details of the finances that are involved in this particular kind of atmosphere. At a construction site, for example, this particular aura also thrives, a foreman or something like this. Again, they like the daily routine of work and the time that they can hang out with their pals and crack jokes and stuff with one another while working on the job. This particular aura can get in the habit of living day to day like this, because the salary, of course, is paid out depending upon the kind of job that you're working, and they can get laid off and stuff like that, and not have the foresight to see long-term goals that need to be met financially. So again, their partner and stuff should more than likely be in charge with this. It doesn't mean they're so horrible with money that they can't make a living. Quite the opposite. They know that they can work and make money doing something. But because they don't like spending long hours at a desk or something, they may have lack of foresight for financial planning. And again, at these kinds of workplaces, they are very, very likely, if they're in sales, for example, to really go out and make things happen for a company. So they can be very, very valuable in that sense. They don't do well in leadership of higher positions because, again, it gets too confusing. They do well where they can see their environment in front of them and make actions and tell others to make actions that need to be done to make something happen at a moment's notice. The second personality within this personality is the soldier. This particular personality type loves to fight for their country. They often feel that it's their duty to achieve the lofty ideas of protecting and honoring what they hold sacred to themselves about their country. So they can be very, very, very patriotic. So they'll make their living by basically attaching themselves to the military and having military life, which some do very well in. The third one is the believer. This particular one loves to serve other people through churches or temples or other religious organizations. Once they've latched on to a particular religion that they feel comfortable, one that's especially expresses spirituality through the physical being, they will become zealots over their religion, handing out pamphlets and assuring others that their belief system is the way to a higher being. In this kind of environment, they'll do anything to make the church or religion work well by helping out with planned picnics and events, or just moving the pews around, or anything like this. They can be very devout followers. As with any of these three, all of them can do any kind of work that involves strenuous physical activity, such as paramedics, flight attendants, firefighters, police officers, professional sports players, physical therapists, coaches, forest rangers if they love to be around nature, ranch work, or even bartenders, waiters, and waitresses. These kinds of physical activities they enjoy the most. There is, of course, much more about this particular personality type. If you'd like to have more information, please contact me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again the next time. Thanks again.